The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
It's a new year and a new world. On this episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast, I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have...
It's Darrell, Addicts.
And...
Happy Kuro Kitty.
And...
Editorial writer, Laser Kid.
You'll have to forgive Laser. He's very hoarse. He just got over a sinus infection, or rather, he's getting over a sinus infection.
Fun. At least I'm through my antibiotics.
Tis the season to be sick.
Ain't that the truth? I'm always hearing people coughing on the bus, and I'm like, no. You better cover your mouth.
I work in a fucking hospital. I'm a walking fucking petri dish, and I deal with basically unhygienic people a lot.
So you have, like, the immune system of a rock, I bet.
Probably.
The most robust of all of us.
Supposedly, that's how it works. If you're constantly around the sick.
I built up immunity to a certain degree, but you know, I'm still prone to get sick at times, and you know, even though I don't mask up, you know, we do have dividers and stuff. But what can I say, man?
So are you down with the sickness?
Nah.
Sorry, I'm not sorry, but I'm a little sorry.
I'm a little bit disturbed by that, but you know.
Well played, sir.
Oh, y'all gonna outpun me tonight.
I'm so proud of you for that.
Don't worry, I got some good ones for the Dr. Stone discussion, because we are here to talk about the first 7 episodes of the second half of Dr. Stone: The New World, which, you know, it was pretty hard, that cliffhanger that we got.
I was broken up about it.
Just shattered.
I sat here just grinning because I've read the manga, but we're running out of things for me to have watched because next season that's coming up is going to be the one where I stopped reading.
Oh no, now I'm petrified of the future. Okay, I'm going to stop real now.
The future is indeed petrified.
That is a rock solid statement.
I tell you, that Ibarra guy, he is stone cold.
Yeah, you know, in this future where Senku wants like everybody alive, no, he can just not be. He can just stay something else. I don't see any point of him. And
he could be a lovely, grotesque statue for the birds to poop on.
Yeah, or some great.
Technically, he's still alive.
He'd make some great gravel.
Oh yeah.
As long as we don't take these puns to rock bottom.
Don't worry, we will. So, when we last left the science team and the spy team, they were able to obtain the crucial element of platinum and maintain the crucial element of surprise. But they're about to lose the later because Ibarra suspects that there's rats among them, and it's not just the kind that have been mysteriously showing up around the premises. In order to test all the women that they recently chose for the master, that is still creepy and gross, he forces them to damage the petrified Ryusui statue because, you know, he has no idea who that is, but he assumes that anybody who doesn't want to damage the statue must be an infiltrator. And after a moment of hesitation, that Ibarra, he's a creepy old dude, but he's pretty smart. You know, he thinks things through.
Yeah.
And after a moment of hesitation, Kohaku makes a big show of demolishing Ryusui to prove that she's not a spy.
Clean cuts.
I I mean, she says that, but come on. Those are like itty bitty pieces.
I
And
gotta
you know
say
what?
something about this though. This is the one, like, for a show that is heavily invested in trying to rebuild science, you have to completely suspend disbelief for the whole revival fluid and the petrification and how it works. It's not just like it's a cure-all in addition to bringing them back from petrification. It actually like fixes and heals their injuries, which is like completely, it doesn't make any sense. But you know what? This is anime logic and this is manga logic, and I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to take it. It just seems so out of place for this world.
What my friend is increasingly having a problem with, that it's like it's trying to be all sciencey, but
this is the one thing.
This is getting to be nonsense.
Yeah, that part. But I mean, I don't hate it. It's just so jarring when you put it up against the rest of the storytelling. But I guess they had to have some kind of, if they wanted to reintroduce this petrification element, they had to have a way to make it, plausibly a barrier they could overcome. So
you got to look at it though. If they're petrified and like this strange device probably has some type of healing property, like when people are put back together, that it actually kind of fixes certain ailments. I mean, that is, like you said, that's a possibility to that. So it's not. I mean, it's improbable, but not impossible.
In world logic, for sure.
You gotta remember, I'm a psych major, so I'm gonna look outside the box on this stuff.
I do love, this is something that is an artistic choice, anthropomorphizing the petrification device to Medusa. They call Medusa, and then that becomes this symbolism for the rest of that part of the season, that they show her for obvious reference to the mythical Greek monster. But I thought that was really fun because it was just like Silver, how they had the silver nitrate, I think it was, or whatever it was like this female siren demon, like it was kind of a fun.
Sulfurina.
Sulfur. Okay. Did I not tell you I was going to forget something? Yes.
Their good old friend Sulfurina, which they occasionally reference, including in this season with the gas that's inside the pineapple.
Yeah.
She's a femme fatale, man.
Yeah, she's a fatal femme for sure.
Oh, yes.
Literally.
You get a good whiff of her.
Dude, that is not something I want to smell.
No.
I just talked to the Chemcore guys, man. Those guys are fucked up sometimes, and they'll tell you shit. They have.
But getting back to Kohaku demolishing Ryusui, I'm like, she enjoyed that. She enjoyed that.
She definitely enjoyed that.
Oh yes.
Who wouldn't enjoy pulverizing his smug face?
I mean, fair. That's completely fair.
I mean, he's a good guy, but man.
He's a good guy, but he's still annoying.
Yeah.
He really isn't all that annoying, but I was like, dude, sometimes
he's funny.
He is funny.
He's entertaining. That's for sure. That's for sure.
What's his catchphrase he does when he snaps his fingers?
He just
laughs.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Just snapping his fingers is really the catchphrase. But yeah. So the science team start collecting the pieces of their petrified comrades, starting with Ryusui. It's sent over on the science rats, and Suika's like, it's body parts. Bless your heart, Suika. You're the best. And the next science gadget that they build is an air tank capable of diving, because the remains of their friends have been tossed off the ship, the Perseus, into the ocean, because, I mean, why wouldn't they be? And they kind of got to grab those pieces before the sea currents pull them away, which is concerning. But, of course, it's not that big a deal. And Soyuz and Ryusui dive to retrieve Haseki, because who's the first person they need? They need their craftsman. So they're trying to get him out, but he's too lodged in. And in that moment, they brilliantly think, Taiju. So they get some revival fluid. They revive Taiju. And before they even come up from the water, they pull Kaseki out. I'm like, that was a quick thinking. Good choice. Good plan.
That did not feel quick at all to me. I was trying to hold. I do this thing. I don't know if other people do this. This is a little deranged.
Suspension
I
of
hold my breath
disbelief.
when they hold their breath, and it was not. I was not working.
I do that too, and yeah.
He's using the airstream to get the fluid into his mouth. I'm like, okay. Okay. And we don't need to communicate. We're friends.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
The language of friendship.
You know, we don't have to podcast. We all know how each other feels, really.
It's true. It's true. But our listeners don't know how we feel.
That's true. That's true.
It's
for our listeners, really.
Yeah. I know Josh was asking me about those episodes, man, the scuba diving episode, man. So I had to give some technical insight on that.
That actually could be interesting. I know you were practicing to do scuba.
Oh no, dude, I am a scuba diver
well,
now.
There you go.
Yeah, you said Taiju doing the free dive was okay, but what they did before was not no bueno.
The air bubble.
That was not actually like in a real world scenario. That was not even fucking possible for the depth that they went down. So they went down 100 feet with compressed air and let's see. This is 79% nitrogen and 21% oxygen is what you normally have in your tank at 3,000 psi, which is okay. What you want to have is the maximum. Is your minimum is 3,000 psi, but if you're at 4,000 to 3,500 psi, that's it. But they were going down, let's see, probably beyond the recreation depth, which is 20 meters, which is 66 feet. So at each depth that you're going at, which is about 4 atmospheres, which is down about 196 feet, or let's see, I'm thinking 80 meters. At this point, it's not possible for them to be down as long as they were because you lose about 10 minutes at each atmosphere. So now, depending on what kind of shape you're in, you could probably stay longer on the dive, but actually they should have been down there about 20 to probably about 25, 30 minutes, but they were down there a little bit longer than that. And then you have to also think about you're coming back up. You have to think about safety stops, which you have to off gas, which means you're getting rid of nitrogen in your body, so that when you come up completely at your ascent, you're not going to get the bends, which is like something that probably would have happened to them. Yeah. But like I said, this is anime. But as far as Taiju, he was actually fine because the deepest dive as far as a free dive was around 436 feet for someone to do that. And that's on one breath. So Taiju going down at 100 feet is actually possible.
And that's super cool.
That's actually feasible. And the thing is, he's going down on one breath. So he doesn't have to worry about nitrogen buildup or anything. He doesn't have to worry about decompressing. But the two that actually had the scuba tanks, that really wasn't feasible as a scuba diver. And even if you can possibly do that, more like you're going to either get the bends or you're just going to fucking die.
Yeah, that's why they do years of training.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through classes.
Definitely needed a bit more research on the diving aspect, but hey,
Yeah, they should have hired Darrell as a consultant for that section.
Look here, dude. I'm just now starting my dive life, but the thing is, like, I've been studying this for years, doing this kind of stuff, like, as far as, like, learning more, being educated about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually do know about it because you have to look into, let's see, we're looking into Archimedes' principle, and then we're also looking at Boyle's law. And Boyle's law, you're definitely going to use as far as ascending, but Archimedes' principle is going to be for your descent. Basically, water is 800 times denser than air. So you're going to feel that pressure. And I'm like, there was just so many things that were left out. But again, it's anime, and I'm not trying to be preachy or sound all elitist about it because that's just how it is. That's just anime for you. But if you're looking at it as a real dive, there were a lot of things that were left out. And I don't want people who probably want to get into scuba diving. This is not how it happens, people. You have to do safety stops every 15 feet. On your ascent, so you're gonna basically off gas anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes while you're doing it, and you're gonna basically have your neutral buoyancy going as well. But like I said, Taiju could actually do what he did because he's a freak of nature, but A well-trained free diver can actually go down 100 feet. But like I said, the deepest free dive recorded currently is at 436 feet.
Yeah, they do something called packing, which I learned. Like they pack air so that they can free dive, which is really cool. Like, don't try to do it at home, kids. You will hyperventilate.
No, you have to train.
You have to be trained to do it, but it's actually like you can actually pack air into your lungs to have enough, to breathe.
You're going down on one breath, and then you're going to come back up on one breath. But it takes years of training, and you have to be in like peak condition to do this. So all I'm going to say is, don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah,
you're not Taiju.
You're not Taiju.
There's a reason why they have that PSA at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they did that, man, because I was so scared that somebody might actually try.
Home.
I mean, like I said, I'm just getting into my dive life, but the thing is, like, because I do have like somewhat of a science background, I do know about Archimedes' principle and Boyle's law, and I work with the guys in the hyperbaric clinic a lot, talking to them. So there's a lot of shit I know in concerns of compression and being under the water, because those guys are divers as well.
Well, thank you, Dr. Darrell. That was enlightening.
I'm sorry, y'all, and also, y'all.
Interesting.
No, that was good information.
Yeah,
it was.
Seriously, I'm getting ready for my next set of things to do as far as scuba diving. I'm about to.
Congratulations! I'd love to do it one day. That's my goal. I'd love to get my own diving license one day.
I mean, it's not hard. I mean, it took me 2 months, but that's because I was only going in on Saturdays. Like,
it's just not a cheap hobby, though. It's really not a cheap.
No,
he's not just Grand Blue dreaming. He's Grand Blue living.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give y'all a quick total. Like, as far as me and equipment that I did buy, I spent around maybe about $5,000. But if you add in the dive bag that my mom bought me for Christmas, we're gonna run that total up to like $6,000, and then I'm getting ready to do my nitrox class on the 20th. That's $175. And what nitrox does is it allows me to be a mixed gas diver. So that means 32% oxygen and 68% nitrogen, which is actually good for dives, because on that you actually not having as much nitrogen buildup in your body, and you can stay down longer as far as a dive. So that's something that's good for me, and also it's actually healthier for you, but you do not want to go past the 66 feet as far as recreational diving with it, because after that, if you were to do that, then you would actually suffer something what we call oxygen toxicity. And of course, Sketch, I know you're going to edit a lot of this out, so thank you for let me say this.
Bonus features.
I probably won't.
Oh, there you go.
Rest assured, Darrell's advice is never shallow.
I mean, if Dr. Stone itself can be educational, why can't we?
Thank you for your words of wisdom. So they got to get Kazuki revived, but when they put almost all the pieces together, he seems to be missing something on his back. There's kind of a poop hole, as Suika put it. And Senku is totally okay with letting the old man have a poop-shaped scar on his back, by the way. But thankfully, Taiju finds the piece along with the pieces of everybody else.
Taiju is something, man.
And Taiju is just like fucking god tier, man. I don't know. Dude, like I said, he's a fucking freak of nature, man.
How did they have enough revival fluid for all those people? Like, I thought they had, because they made it very clear to say we have a limited amount of platinum, limited amount of revival fluid.
Oh,
and
no,
there
they
seemed
can
to
make
be plenty.
They can make a ton.
With just a little platinum, they can make a ton.
Tiny bit of platinum for a catalyst, and they can make a ton of that stuff.
That's actually
but,
one of the
if that machine were to be destroyed, they'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. They don't have to rely on bat poop anymore.
Nope.
No more guano.
Yeah.
But guano is an excellent fertilizer, though.
No doubt. And before we get into talk of discussion of the usefulness of fertilizer, let's press on. Kazuki is revived, and as we mentioned before, the the revival process, the petrification then revival process, heals all kinds of ailments. So he's like, I feel better than ever. And it's like, yeah, you probably had arthritis or something. So new and improved Kazuki. It's just raring to go, and immediately very sad that the mobile lab has been dismantled for their other projects. So they quickly get everybody else revived. Large part thanks to Yuzuriha and her incredible ability to put people back together. And Soyuz is no louse at that either, because he has a really good memory for some reason. Mm-hmm. More on that later.
Yes, I know, right?
So with Kazuki's help, they rebuild the mobile lab, which is very important to him. And they also finish the drone. And Crom thinks he has a really good idea to use the fidget spinners to stabilize the drone. And then Senku's like, oh, yeah, we already did that with the Mark II. But that was a good idea. Dang it, Senku. Let Crom have a moment. Meanwhile, how are things going for the spy team? Well, Ginro has been chosen by Ibarra to be presented in front of the master, which he's just really, really excited about. Not at all. but he's a spy. This is what they need. They need to find out what's the deal with the master, and he does. He does, and it turns out the master, shocker, has been petrified.
I was waiting for this for so long, because the last time we talked about this, everyone's like, oh, who is this master? What's his problem? And I'm sitting here going, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Like, almost immediately, I'm like, Ibarra's pulling the strings here. It's so obvious. It is so obvious. That's why we're not seeing the master. No, the master's all mysterious. I'm like, yeah. And, the petrified master certainly is reminiscent of someone.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Pretty similar face to somebody.
Curiouser and curiouser.
This is a big find, so obviously Ginro needs to get the word out, but even though he used the pineapple with the gas in it, Ibarra gets up pretty quick, and well, he did the same thing he did to everybody else who found out. Dealt with the problem. And dang, man, that had to be the most violent thing to happen in Dr. Stone so far.
It was definitely dramatic.
Guts Ginru right through with, yikes. Serious damage. Like, so bad that Kohaku immediately realizes there's no way to save him except for one. So they pass the message along to Amaryllis so that she can tell the others, and she runs up to the top of the master's hut and awaits petrification, kind of baits them to do it, because she knows the only way to save him with that much eternal damage is to be petrified. And both of them wait there and entrust everything else to their comrades. And that moment when the ending song kicks in, I'm like, oh. Like, you're not worried. You're not worried that there's going to be anything. They're going to be okay. But
that doesn't take away from the compelling drama.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Just very, very powerful moment. I'm sure it reads pretty well in the manga, but
it does.
It's super powerful in the anime.
That's something I really appreciate about Dr. Stone. Having read the manga well past the point we're at least. I love the manga. I really do. But the anime tends to improve on it tenfold. They add so much to the feeling just by framing things, by using music in certain spots, the voice acting, it really improves the story.
So now Amaryllis, armed with this very important information, returns to the science team and tells them about the master. And Soyuz remembers his past. It turns out his family lineage, every wife of the master was said to have an incredible memory so that they could retain the 100 tales. Makes sense, even though it kind of doesn't.
I remember
yeah,
things
he's
from
got
when I was an infant, don't you?
just a few Christmases, maybe. But yeah, so his memory has come in handy so far with putting people back together, but now we really understand why that's his deal. But unfortunately, Maz managed to sneak up on them, and not even Ukyo with his sonic hearing could notice. And after a rather intense exchange where Gen tries his best to, persuade the situation, the science team forms a shaky partnership with Maz to eliminate Ibarra, because the enemy of my enemy is at least my temporary ally. So they have Maz disguise himself and attack in the night to make the Islanders believe that the enemy is ridiculously strong and that there's several of them. Good plan, because they're basically assuming that the Warriors would be like, oh, he was like even stronger than you think. They were super strong. That's why I lost. No other reason.
No other reason at all.
And Maz is like, yeah, because he is as strong as me.
God, Maz was also kind of a bastard.
Oh.
All I care about is beautiful women.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Like, he immediately was like, oh, Kohaku, you're one of the spies, I know. Are we going to fight now? Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
I think she could have taken him.
She probably could have, but
Potentially.
She
But
never
Under the
did.
right circumstances, at least.
under the right circumstances. But the whole thing is she probably would have won it by a thread's hair.
Yeah, and she, in a one-on-one fight, probably. But with all those other soldiers around, definitely hard to pull off.
Yeah, because they would have probably jumped in there at some point.
Mm-hmm. So they need a countermeasure for Maz, besides finishing the drone and setting up a plan to use him to bait the use of the Medusa. But the countermeasure, after all this time, they finally did it. They made a gun. And who do they choose as their marksman? Why? A former police officer, because that's a great idea.
And in that moment, Dr. Stone became America.
Ugh.
Aggressively American.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, man. But somebody else seems rather interested in that weapon, which is certainly not good. You don't want Magma eyeing something very dangerous. So they attempt to trick the Islanders and force Kurosami to use the Medusa so they can snatch it with the drone, as was the plan. And they try to use Maz to trick them by... he really falls back like he's losing to Yuzuri. And who else was in that group? Like, so really? Yeah. Really, actor of the year here. But as they think this is about to, go their way, and they're about to send out the drone, Ryusu was like, something about my sailor's intuition says we shouldn't do this. You should always trust that sailor's intuition. Because the plan has gone sideways, and Ibarra is using Kurosami to bait out Maz because he's suspicious of him ever since he noticed that Maz has the same kind of earring that Kohaku was wearing. Oh, by the way, he's been listening in all this time, so he knew where they were going to attack from. He knew the plan in general. He just didn't know that Maz was definitely assisting them. But knowing that it's the fake Medusa, it was wise for Ryusui not to send out the drone, and they make a hasty retreat, and Maz tries to make a big show of chasing after them, but that all fell apart, obviously. So now Ibarra's plan is to tell everyone to board the intruder ship and attempt to get them off the island so he can petrify all the intruders from afar. And finally, Kurosami, bless her heart, is like, hey, wait a minute. This isn't something the master would ask us to do. He knows how dangerous this power is on the local wildlife and all of the humans. We can't have that. And Ibarra's like, oh, you got me. Now you're a statue. I hate this guy.
He's so horrible.
He's so cringe.
Yes.
I hate he tried to kill Soyuz when he was a baby. He's like, oh, this kid has really good memory. You gotta die too. Man, this guy. Meanwhile, Magma goes off half-cocked with a gun and wastes precious ammo.
Who could have seen that
Oh my
happening?
God. That annoyed me so much. I was unreasonably angry. I was like, do you not see how high the stakes are? You jerk, you're making it all so much harder. That made me really angry.
But that's so American, though.
America.
I mean, literally going there guns blazing, knowing that the situation is dire, but doesn't care.
Oh boy. So part of the science team goes after him, and the others head to find the petrified master, because they plan to revive the master and show the islanders that Ibarra's been lying to them all this time. But unfortunately, Ibarra, being not terribly stupid, crushed the master and left all the pieces. But should have took the pieces, buddy, because they could put stuff back together. And Soyuz's impressive memory allows them to at least put the master back together, but also, unfortunately, that big piece missing from his face, they can't revive him. So we have a moment where Soyuz really laments that he couldn't save his father, and so that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, he was having dang on survivor's remorse.
So what does that mean then? I think they don't do a good job of addressing that.
Yeah, they don't really.
When someone can't be revived, like, okay, so at what point is death really death?
When you don't have enough pieces to put them together, is
Yeah, but that's not. It's just so is the person alive in there somehow? Like, what? Where is that soul of that? Like, I think that because they make it, they kind of cheapen death because they make it so easy to revive the people that, like, you can't appreciate what is true death in this series.
I think he was probably to the point, like, he was already taken out to the point that he couldn't be revived, though. Like, before he was already dead before he was petrified, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's possible, though. I mean, maybe Ibarra. I don't think Ibarra actually killed him before, but that big chunk missing from his face. I mean, there could have been brain matter in there.
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it like there was no gray matter there, man.
Yeah,
he was literally a hollow.
I don't know. This is again where the
there's a couple of holes that weren't filled, man.
Yeah,
there's some holes in this theory, huh?
Not just the one in his face.
Exactly.
So the group boards the ship and use some science tricks in Gen's silver tongue to scare the islanders. It's like, oh, I'm going to use my science powers on you. And when it seems like they've been cornered, Senku reveals the true objective was to revive their wild card, the Joker. So he throws some revival fluid into the cage and lets out Hyoga, because they had one more card to play.
Man, the fact that they're here is just...
Yeah, well, they know that beating Kurosami without Kohaku around is going to be... not Kurosami, Maz is going to be very hard. So they kind of have to do it.
I mean, they don't really have much choice, but it's also like, are you guys
Thank
really
God
doing this?
we thought to keep the psychopath on board with us. Phew.
I know. Good.
And what if we needed a psychopath to kill the other psychopaths,
Because you never
guys?
know when you need your own psychopath.
It's their own Vegeta.
Ah.
Oh, but he's so much worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yoga he's up. He's assessing the situation. Again, tries to force Maz to fight Yoga by making Nikki declare that she's in love with Yoga, but she can't bring herself to do it because she's a shy maiden, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one little word is just, it's a big word for me, and I appreciate that. Even though Yoga is a very terrible person, he's like, you know what, Nikki? You were true to yourself. And Gen, I value that silver tongue of yours. And Maz thinks that he can gain a powerful ally if he just appeals to Hyoga's values, but he reads him wrong. And really shouldn't have brought up that, oh yeah, I want all the beautiful women, and if they're attractive, then they should survive. Man.
Your lecture.
What if they don't want you?
Yeah.
Did it occur to him that maybe the beautiful women don't want him either? Just a thought.
No. He's such a catch. All the women want him, don't you know?
God.
Yeah.
Like the sheer arrogance it takes to be like, it's because you want them, then it's all okay. No, bro.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like, nah, bro. We don't do that around here. I believe in consent 100%. That's just how I roll around this camp.
Also, screw that guy for disparaging Nikki. Like, dude, not cool. Not cool. So they fight. They come to blows, and Ibarra slinks away as he does. And
Because
in
he's a
possibly his greatest but short-lived triumph, Yo shoots Ibarra, causing him to drop the Medusa. You did it, Yo!
Oh my
You
God.
weren't completely useless.
This was like my biggest facepalm moment. I was so excited when he caught the frickin' device.
Yes.
And then
He blows it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I'm just gonna float here in the water and pretend to be able to shoot people and be like, I'm fine. Nothing bad could possibly happen. Old man just falls out the ship, calls out the instructions to the Medusa, and now you're petrified. Good job,
Yeah.
Yo.
you should have said nothing.
Yo, you really dropped the ball on that one, yo.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry.
So the rest of the science team return to the island, and Hyoga correctly deduces that they are quickly building him the key to victory. And as Hyoga runs with Mazhan on his trail, he realizes that he's actually putting his faith in Senku and the others, and he's like, I'm putting my faith in them. Ibarra snatches the Medusa back and petrifies Yo in the process, and Orowashi witnesses it, and Ibarra takes a moment to consider his next move. Orowashi runs to the center of the island as the science team tries to stop him, and they pin him down, only to realize that he didn't have the Medusa in his hands, and rather it was inside of him, because let me remind you, Ibarra is the worst.
Yeah, this is like the most psychopathic thing ever.
Oh gosh, so horrible.
And as the Medusa activates, Ukyo yells Senku the instructions for operating it as best as he thinks.
Hey, he figured it out.
Exactly.
And Hyoga declares to Maz that humanity's most powerful weapon is an accumulation of knowledge, skills, and diligently obtained, refined over generations. Because Maz is like, I was born great. And Hyoga's like, nah, that ain't it.
Yeah, you missed me with that shit.
I mean, seriously.
To quote Shakespeare, and some have greatness thrust upon them.
Ooh.
like that spear getting thrust at him.
Got to the point quick, though.
I messed up the order on
I
that
see
a
what
little
you
bit.
did there. Took me a minute.
In my notes, he really screwed him.
Ooh.
Hey, he just used some spiral power, man, and pierced the heavens.
Oh!
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yours is the spear that will pierce the heavens?
Or pierce the stone is.
The shininess of the gold tipped spear definitely was flashy. It's like it's like facing down the sun. Anyway, they're about to both get petrified, and Hyoga admits that he and Maz probably are not going to get revived again. But Maz says, if we do, I'd like to learn that technique. And Hyoga says he'd gladly teach Maz because the Owari Kanryu style is open to anyone who seeks to do it properly.
Exactly.
Because in anime world, everybody becomes friends before they die.
It's true.
They think they're gonna die.
Enemies are just friends that aren't your friends yet.
Yeah.
Just join. They just haven't joined Fairy Tail yet. That's all.
It's a little happy ending. Too much for me. Like, I mean, come on. Sometimes people are just bad people.
Exactly. Yeah. And Ibarra was one of those bad fucking people.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
Like, he's shitty, man. I'm like, dude, there is nothing fucking redeemable about you.
They don't even try with him.
Ultimately, Hyoga only picked the side he picked because he felt it was in his best interest, not because he felt any loyalty to any of them. He just was going for what he thought would benefit him the most.
Look here, Hyoga was a fucking simp, man. We only deal in fucking absolutes, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ibarra examining what's left of the island is like, oh, my dear, your soft curds are all hard now. It's like, you creep.
Oh, God.
Dude.
You creep.
Think about how long he had been doing this to women, man. And I'm just like a fucking sick-ass piece of shit, man. It's like, dude, I would have literally crushed him my damn self, man. Like, seriously, petrified him, man. I would have busted his balls with a sledgehammer.
What's his stupid plan here? He petrifies the entire island. Where does he think he's going to find other people? A, and B, like, how he has no context for how he would dominate any other society. Like he's literally eliminated. He doesn't strike me as the person who would be self-sustaining, like getting food for himself, getting shelter, getting clothing. Like, he doesn't know how to do any of that himself. He's relied on a society for it. So him petrifying the entire island was just it was a terrible move all around. He would have been better off, reigning over them, like, as a terror, threatening them with petrification, but straight out, like, doing all that. Like, he screwed himself too, because I don't think he's smart, but he's not competent enough to survive on his own. No. All he really has is his manipulation and his device, and none of these things are going to serve him if he's alone. I didn't understand that him doing that. It didn't actually benefit him in any way as far as the plot goes. It was a poor move.
He believed that one of the enemies would survive, and they did. It was Senku, and that he would be able to force them to tell him how to get people out. That was the gamble he was playing. It wasn't very smart, but that tells you a little bit about his intelligence.
Okay, that I did miss that he was so sure he would be able to figure out how to revive. He was
at least sure that he would find the revival fluid.
Right.
But he hoped if there wasn't enough that he could revive somebody else, or that he'd find somebody else.
What I find this interesting, this tells us about Ibarra. He's a good thinker if he has time to think. He is not good thinking on his feet.
No.
And that tells us a lot. And I think that's demonstrative. Kuro, you're absolutely right. It's still pretty dumb, but it tells us what kind of a person he is. He's a calculator, but he is not the kind that can do it on the fly. Or when he's under pressure, he thinks very poorly.
Like, he literally goes, man.
So we basically see how he's going to lose this, because Senku is, above all things, very good at thinking in the moment.
Mm-hmm. And thinking ahead.
Mm-hmm. And he did. His opening gambit was to try and activate the Medusa using his voice over the speaker.
That was pretty cool.
That didn't work, but it definitely freaked the crap out of Ibarra.
It was one of my favorite scenes. I'm just like,
oh.
And he looks up and sees a very smug Senku, who declares that it will be a battle of the gods between he and Ibarra as the proxies.
All right, where's Beerus?
Yeah, right. I was like, how's he going to get that thing out of Arashi? Oh, of course, he's just going to break him. I'm not entirely sure why it's totally okay inside of the petrified body, but again, where is the logic?
The anime logic and anime physics are totally different from real world.
Like, so many of these characters have a superpower of some kind.
Yeah, the show does like to give us science in its right spot, but when it comes to narrative stuff, it just does what's interesting. Real cool.
Yeah, but Senku's still like such a fun character. I still like adore him as a character just because he always seems to figure out a way, and he's always optimistic, and he doesn't have any like physical capabilities like a lot of these superpowers tend to run. His is all just like being smart, and it just makes it so fun to watch him work, like how he figures things out, because you don't know where this is going to go with him. You never know how he's going to get through with any situation, and when he's like, left turn here, I'm going to do this crazy thing, and you're like, holy shit, that would never have occurred to me, the dump will be in here. Like, it's just so fun to watch him work through problems and to figure out these wild crazy solutions, and then he's got like a 12-step program to how to get there. Like, it's amazing. He makes for a really great character for the series, and I enjoy it.
With you.
Yeah,
but he's so fucking lovable, man. I mean, like, he has his moments, but the one thing that I kind of hate, man, is they really won't let him show any emotion. Like, you know, I mean, like with Byakuya, man, I was like, man, come on, just let the man shed a tear too, some. But you know, I get it though. Senku's just very logical. And I'm pretty sure at some point they're going to just, like, you know, let him have some kind of breakdown or something.
He's had emotional moments, but they're muted.
Yeah,
as a
He's
hardcore
very
shipper,
reserved.
I hardcore ship him and Kohaku. Yes, I need that moment. It's very important to me. It's extremely important to me.
He was so unfazed when she was all over him to try and trick Kurosami. I loved it.
God.
You know, that man literally has the discipline of a fucking eunuch.
You.
And I respect him. I'm
He
like,
felt
dude,
nothing when she was petrified. Like, what? What? How could you feel nothing? Come on.
I don't
Come
think
on.
he feels
I'm pretty sure he
nothing.
felt something.
I get this distinct. And maybe this is my and Kuro. I've talked to you about this. Maybe this is my autism radar going off. I get the distinct feeling he's got emotions. He's just not good at expressing them.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you like this. Most people who are intelligent, we really do sometimes have there's a mental block with expressing certain emotions. And like with Senku, showing Eros, which is love, and that kind of romantic love is kind of hard for him, or he really doesn't have a real good grasp on it. Seriously. I was like that for a long time.
Yes, like Spock. I think that's a very good comparison.
Like
It's
Spock.
it's not that it's not there, because I've seen him in this show have reactions that are clearly emotional, but they're kind of muted, but they're there, which tells me he's holding a lot back.
I'm good with that.
But
This is
it's
such a
been
fun series.
It
This
really
is
wild season.
It's extremely satisfying to watch because it keeps you hanging, but it also keeps giving you the answers quickly. Like, it has a really good flow. And I like that. And it's got a nice overhanging mystery. We still have this Y-Man thing. We still have to understand about these devices, how they work and why they're even there. Like, how did one even come to be on this island, and how this community...
Yeah, why?
Like, there's so many questions to be answered, and I love that they build that all up.
Why is that Medusa on this island when that wasn't where it originated?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Interesting coincidence that it ends up on the island that the space station went down on.
Indeed.
That's right. That's right. It did go down there because that's where he got the platinum.
Yes.
Huh.
Oh. And don't forget about the Thousand Tales.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just compelling enough to know that there was at least two civilizations that were passing on the 100 Tales.
I'm loving it, but I'm so glad that I actually got to give some serious contribution to the conversation tonight, man.
Well, we always enjoy having you on here, Bay. And
of course.
We hope there will be more things to talk about with you in the future.
Oh, there will be at some point, you know. I got a couple of irons in the fire. I said I was going to get my patient access certification, which means that when it comes time to talk turkey to get more money, they're going to have to pay me my worth. And this job is supposed to start at around $80,000, so I can ask for more with a certification under my belt.
Nice.
And $80,000 in Alabama is pretty damn good. Like, I could ball out. I could actually probably get a house at this point. So,
very good. I would always recommend buying over renting.
Amen.
Oh no,
One of the best financial decisions I ever made.
Same here.
That's the goal. I really I want a 3 to 4 bedroom home with 2 baths. Maybe I'm not sure if I want to do like 2 levels now. I might do like a single level, but I just need to see how the space and square footage is going to be, because I don't want small rooms. Even if
Nah, you don't want small rooms.
No, I don't. I need like plenty of closet space too, man. I got a lot of fucking anime and other shit.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Oh, I'm bursting at the seams over here.
Yeah, I've noticed how much I have, because I got my DVD shows out here, and woo!
Dude, I saw your stuff,
looking good.
Yeah, it's nice.
It does look good, and it's so satisfying to have all your stuff on shelves,
really
too, isn't it? And not in boxes.
Like, it's a lot of it was in boxes just because of where, I was a studio apartment until about half a year ago now, and coming back up from Christmas with a bunch of my stuff and my DVD shelves, man, it's just put things away.
Yeah, I was like, man, that looks really nice. So I was like, hopefully in the next 2 years, getting a home is the goal. And I was like, with that, I was like, I think I'm gonna probably dedicate one room to like being my personal library. So that's gonna be media handbooks. So I could actually start buying physical copies of more books that I want. So I'm sorry, I just can't do the electronic shit, man. It's hard for me to do it. Being a librarian for that long, I mean, it's a great technological advancement for people who have limited space. But I'm so fucking old school and bent on it that I actually need print media.
Hey, no shame in that.
No shame in that at all.
Yeah.
Every company's trying to make us buy things only digitally, and then we never truly own them, and it's
Exactly, that's the thing. Like, I mean, they can easily take away digital material. I mean, I look at shit like Hulu, Apple, Spotify, like all those platforms.
If
I'm like,
you don't at least have a file that doesn't require
another
app,
yeah.
then you don't own it. Like,
yeah,
I don't mind something like iTunes where I download it and then I have the file.
Look, there are definitely some less than legal ways to get this material digitally that you can keep yourself. And certainly you can buy some digital material to be yours. But if you're streaming it, it will never, ever be truly yours. And those streaming services, as we've learned from the whole stuff about the iTunes, can completely disregard any ownership of purchaseship that you've had. And it's interesting to talk about this now because this has been a big topic on Twitter recently, but also because a lot of this community does either streaming or physical media, one of the two. And I've always been a person that has relied on digital copies of things. I don't collect physical media like you do, Laser, or any of the three of you. I've never done that outside of books. So like, it was a really interesting wake-up call to see, like, oh, if this is if any of these were media outlets I wanted to keep for the future, I may not be able to. And it's just something to, for this community especially, I think it's relevant. I think, even for this podcast, for all of us, because we do that a lot. We've supported back when Right Stuff Anime was going on. We did a lot to support them and show how buying physical media was a big deal to them, to the community there. And even though now Crunchyroll owns it, which we all have strong feelings about, it's still like one of these things where understanding that, there is some value, I will admit, to owning physical media. If that is something you value down the line, understand that you don't necessarily have constant access to the digital copies of these products. And it's unfortunate. I truly did not see this going this way, but it seems really obvious now that that was always going to be the case.
I mean, I love owning digital copies because the thing is, when the internet goes out, guess what? I can watch my DVDs or my Blu-rays.
Well, and I'm going to be a little bit harsh here with rights holders, but I don't mean to be mean. But if buying digitally does not equal ownership, then how is piracy theft?
Good point.
Ooh.
That is a very fair point. And to be honest with you,
And I am not a pirate. You commented. I posted recently my DVD collection. I have a ton of anime.
You know, the thing is, I used to be so against piracy back in the day when we was doing all the articles and stuff and getting the DVDs, because I was like, that cuts into, you know, what we get and as far as what I was getting paid for. But I was like, at this point, I'm okay with piracy now. I'm okay with piracy again.
I'm
like,
okay with piracy if you have no other alternative, and that includes, you can buy it digitally. Well, you don't really own it when you buy it digitally. That's the problem. Now, I believe in ethical, doing things ethically. If it's available, buy it.
Yeah, you know, I'll buy what I can, man. But
even if you're technically renting it.
Yes, even if you're technically renting it.
That's why I don't pay much for digital copies.
No, I won't pay much for digital copies either. Like, I bought Chainsaw Man.
$4 for an anime season, though?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I bought Chainsaw Man for $5 off iTunes. I'm like, $5? Why not?
Yeah, and if you're savvy, if you do that, there is a way you can keep that material.
Yes.
If you want to keep that material, just talk to Jose.
You just have to know how to do it, how to do that on
I know the ways.
Computer.
I know the right ways.
Yeah.
And
No, apparently Plex can get all messed up if you're not careful.
With Plex, because I saw that. If you use Plex, because I will straight up admit I use Plex for everything I own.
I'm not going to come on this podcast and tell people how to do that. I'm not going to come on this podcast either and tell them you should buy this or you should buy that. I'm not going to say that. I think it's just one of these things that it's a reality right now we're facing, and it's important to discuss it and say, well, what are the options available and what are the ethical challenges behind these options? I honestly don't know the right answer, but it really shouldn't be on us, the users, to have to find workarounds to these things. Honestly, it should be within the people selling these materials to have discovered this. So the only way we're going to get those answers is if we demand them publicly.
I will say this. As anime fans, we are super blessed with a lot of home video that other niches wish they had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is definitely a staple in the community.
Like me and Laser said, we miss Suncoast.
Oh, Suncoast Video, man. I used to go down there all the time when I was a kid. I at this point, I can't buy anime anywhere other than online anyway.
Pretty much. You might find the odd box set of something really popular like Dragon Ball or Demon Slayer at Target or Walmart. But
Walmart's it, man. Target and Best Buy left home video.
I mean, like, you can go to Walmart, you can find some nice little things, man.
A few things, but yeah, if you want something that's not like super out there, like Dragon Ball, you can find Dragon Ball Super at Walmart. You can find that. But if you're looking for something else, yeah, you're pretty much gonna have to buy online. And at this point, there's really only 3 places that I would even consider looking at.
I don't even use Robert's Anime Corner anymore, man.
I don't use it only because the shipping isn't great for me. If you live on the East Coast, definitely give Robert a go. If you're on the West Coast or close enough like me, it takes a bit longer. That's why I switched to Right Stuff, honestly, as they were faster getting stuff to me. But Robert's, they were always good to me.
Yeah, the thing is, I want them to do the dub of Irregular Magic High School, man, like the first season. If they do that, then I'll buy the second season, because currently the first season doesn't have a dub on physical copy.
No, that's up to Aniplex.
Yeah, Aniplex is my nemesis for a reason.
Yeah, I mean,
but at least they got more case study of Vanitas. They finally heard me.
I mean, I really want to buy Astro Wars, man, but that's just gonna be a pain in the butt right now. I got so much stuff that I gotta do, man.
But yeah, long rant short, home video good. I definitely recommend it if you're into anime. Get your favorites. Jason and Mark was talking about this a while back about stream versus owning your own copy. It's actually not that bad if you go out there and you look for good deals. especially used. But even if you get new, I did not get as much as I have overnight. I've been collecting for 20 years.
Exactly. Dude,
Just wait for a good sale. They happen all the time.
They do. They absolutely do.
Hey, and we have we know someone who has a collection for sale.
Yeah.
Sketch.
That's true.
Yeah.
What you got for sale?
One of our I'm not selling anything. Our collaborator Duelist is trying to offload some stuff to pay some bills. So check out his Twitter, Heart of Sword 75. I think that's
we follow each other, so I should be able to find it.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit on there, and he's anxious to offload it and is willing to discuss and negotiate. So if anyone's interested in acquiring, anyone interested in acquiring stuff, check out his Twitter.
He's got quite a few things that are out of print that may or may not have gotten a re-release. So you should definitely check out his wares because he's got some good stuff. He's been collecting for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Now's the time, especially if you're worried about getting physical copies of digital media.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, you look at the huge selection of anime that Funimation released over the years. They're not gonna get re-released. At least not most of them.
Oh yeah. There are things that are gone, and there are things that have been gone that only recently came back because Discotheque are gods.
Yeah.
But things come and go. They do.
Nothing lasts forever.
Even something as magical as Dragon Ball. There was a time where if you liked the original Dragon Ball, pre-Z Dragon Ball, it was completely out of print for like 3 years.
Wow, that was between when they
Saga and Blue Bricks.
Oh yeah. There's a new Dragon Ball Z orange box. It's Reese's.
Oh no.
They have a collaboration with Reese's cereal.
That's amazing.
Gosh. That's amazing.
Why is this happening in 2024? I couldn't tell you.
Why wouldn't
Dragon Ball Daima.
Why shouldn't it happen? This is fabulous. I'm loving it. Are you kidding me?
It's setting us up for Dragon Ball Daima. That's what's going on.
That's perfect.
I mean, maybe.
So anyway, let's finish up. Let's wrap up with the Dr. Stone. We have 4 episodes left, starting on the 14th. Right?
Yeah, the next episode will be on the 13th, and we should actually talk about that because big things happening with the Toonami schedule. This next week, the 13th, there will be another extra long episode of Demon Slayer kicking off the block. That'll be the Entertainment District arc. You've probably seen the promo. They've aired it enough. Which means Dr. Stone will be bumped to 1 a.m. that particular week, and One Piece is down to 1 episode again.
Alas.
It was inevitable. And Naruto Shippuden still at 2. We are getting very close to the end. And IGPX HD Remaster is continuing at 2:30. It's continuing. It's on track. Jose has said on Twitter that it's not going to be any delivery issues on his end. So that is a Herculean feat. I said that wrong, but you know what I mean. That is like he is the real champ.
He's doing a great job promoting it too. It's pretty cool. And apparently he said that the DVD has both. That they're releasing it with both, and then you can see the difference or something like that. Maybe. Yeah.
It has both the IG version and the Toonami version, which is mainly music differences, but also some other things.
Well, the digital.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's been working really hard on that, and total props to him. And I hope to talk about it with him on the podcast at some point. We will.
Yeah, that would.
We will try to make that happen, but he is very busy, as you can imagine. Very, very busy.
You got to get Jose on.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get him.
Yeah. Right. He's very, very busy. So on the 20th, Toonami starts a new show through the block, Licorice Recoil. Yeah. That will be starting at 1 a.m., which means Dr. Stone will be back at 12:30. There may be a reason why it's keeping its 12:30 slot, mainly because there's only 4 episodes left, and they might have kind of a big deal coming in when Dr. Stone ends. And I don't usually talk about not entirely reliable sources, so I'm not sure if this is 100%, but I think we could probably trust some information about Latin America Adult Swim, and they released information about their upcoming editions. And one of those, starting on February 10th, which should simulcast in both Latin America and the US, is Ninja Kamui.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that little original series from the director of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mhm.
So, yeah, kind of a big deal.
I mean, weren't we expecting this eventually this year? I thought that was.
were, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
given.
We were expecting it this year.
Yeah.
Briefly, people were thinking maybe it was going to be at the end of last year because of some wordings of things, but honestly, I didn't think it would show up this soon despite that. So, hey, cool.
I'm excited. That's going to be really cool.
It looks really good. I'm very excited. So hopefully this this news bump doesn't age poorly. But yeah, Dr. Stone has 4 episodes left, and it looks like Ninja Kamui will be coming in to replace it. It is an original series, so it will probably take the top spot on the block. That is typically how it works. But in the meantime, Demon Slayer will continue to be our headliner, followed by Dr. Stone, the new series Licorice Recoil at 1 a.m., One Piece at 1:30, Naruto Shippuden continues at 2, and IGPX Remastered finishes the block at 2:30. Of course, there is also kind of a pseudo Toonami block afterwards with both Unicorn, Warriors Eternal, and I think Primal was on after that too.
God, I would give anything for season 2 of that series. I know how you feel about it. I don't care. I want season 2.
No, I want season 2 because
Okay.
if there is no season 2, that show sucks.
Yeah. You cannot leave me hanging like that.
I think that's a fair point to make. Like,
And I'm
it
not
was
gonna
good,
lie,
but I need more.
For new material that was aired this year, that was my favorite. Not this year, 2023. That was my favorite new series of 2023. Seriously.
I'm certainly more partial to Superman.
Yeah.
but
no, I just.
I'm not going to say it's a bad show. It's a very good show. It's just
We just have
compared to-
high expectations.
compared to everything else Gendy's done, just not working for me.
I disagree, but I understand why you feel, because we've had this discussion before.
But if it has a second season and it delivers on what it has set up, then it could turn it around. But if it never gets that other season, yeah, that's
I'm
that's
on
disappointing.
the Team Elf.
I mean, I wasn't expecting a 3rd season of Primal, but that's coming. So
yeah, but it's going to be. He even said it's not going to be like the same. It's just going to be separate episodes.
It shouldn't be the same.
It'll be like shorts in the same world with different characters, and I think that
an anthology series.
Yeah, it makes complete sense, and all that matters is because the actual style of the animation and the narrative was so well received that I think that there's it'll be anthology is the appropriate next response for that. I mean, it's not like we don't have other animated series that do things like that don't have overall narratives, so it'll be good. I'm excited.
You can email us at podcast@ToonamiFaithful.com. You can follow us on Facebook.com/ToonamiFaithful Podcast and on Twitter @Toonami Podcast. You can listen to the podcast on just about everything, including Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Podbay, Podbean, Podcast Addict, Radio.com, Spotify, and the TuneIn app. And you can find every episode of the podcast to stream online at SoundCloud.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast and get the latest news by following @Toonami News on Twitter and read the news, views, and reviews on ToonamiFaithful.com. So, Laser, tell our listeners where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter @LaserKidPrime. You can find me on Blue Sky @LaserKid, and you can find my Toonami Faithful editorials right here on Toonami Faithful.
And Kuro, where can they find you?
I'm not ready to abandon Twitter yet. Mostly because I just can't put the effort into another social media and building followers again. That's a lot of work.
Girl, tell me about it.
So
I mean, I'm on Blue Sky, but I'm way more active on Twitter. So
I'm gonna wait here. Occasionally, I'll be on Discord, but I'm still on Twitter, and I'm still gonna call it Twitter, and it's Happy Kuro Kitty, and I would love a follow. I also like more talkbacks, y'all. Give us talkbacks. I love reading those. They're fun. We'll read them on this show if you give them to us.
Yeah, we'll make sure to do a call for talkbacks for the next Dr. Stone discussion, which will finish off the season. Mr. Darrell, tell the folks where they can find you if you're not diving.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not diving, you can always find me at ukami_samurai7 at twitter.com because I don't believe in fucking X. X is unknown. And I know where the fuck I'm at all times if I'm not beneath the sea. But, yeah, that's pretty much it these days. You know, besides working.
Diving in dive bars.
Well, actually, we say dive and dive often.
Ah.
Learn something new.
Yeah.
Live or dive hard.
Hey, I can definitely get the depth these days. Because I'm in depth.
Sketch, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Sketch1984, and I do have a Blue Sky at Sketch1984, but I don't use it.
If I'm being honest, I don't use mine either.
I mean, it's like nice to have, but I don't like copy my posts from Twitter over there. Again, it's too late. I can't move. But if they ever add DM features, maybe. We talk about this a lot on this podcast for some reason.
That's what Sketch mainly cares about.
Elon, quit ruining Twitter.
I know. God.
Oh,
he's the worst.
Oh boy, I saw a lot of posts about what's one thing that you have that Elon Musk will never have. They are so savage. Mostly about his home life. And it's well deserved.
Exactly. I have a fulfilling sex life, even though I don't have a girlfriend.
Thanks for sharing, Darrell.
Oh, I'm always glad to share.
Always glad to overshare.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm no filter anyway, man. So everybody doesn't know what the hell is going on.
Darrell is overshare king gainer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like to overshare sometimes. I know it makes people uncomfortable sometimes. Or at least it gets a couple of laughs here and there, or what else Darrell gonna say next.
All right, well, Paul will be calling me any moment to do a different podcast, so we should wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining me. It's great to have you back. It's great to be back. I know we had a bit of a longer break than I intended. I also wanted to get out another off-topic episode, which did get recorded. Life. Life.
It's almost like there's been a lot of holidays.
Yeah. Holidays, they happen. But we're back on track. We're probably going to be releasing episodes every week for at least a little while because there's plenty of things to talk about. We just talked about Dr. Stone. We got to talk about Demon Slayer. We got Licorice coming up. We might have Ninja Kamui coming up. It's a lot to talk about, and it's been a while since we talked about One Piece, Laser.
It has been a minute.
It's about time to start talking about Dressrosa.
Ooh, I have things to say about Dressrosa.
Oh, the tea. We'll get to
like Dressrosa, believe it or not.
Hey, I like it too. It's pretty long in the tooth.
It is.
But enough about that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for staying with us after all these years. We hope you have a great new year and continue listening to our podcast. Until next time, we're punching out.
Just remember,
Deuces.
If you need some anime, you can always take a high dive.
走らす船は笑えるほどに遅い速度で進んでいたが沈まなけりゃいいんじゃないか地図もないけれどたどり着いた君の心